I'm going to show you another way to start crocheting something that's in the round using what's called the chain method. So here I have what's called a foundation chain. I took this piece of yarn, I created this thing that looks like a braid, and I want to just show you conceptually first what this chain method entails before we try it. So I've made this chain, it's extra long. We're going to connect the front and the back of the chain like so to create a circle. We're not done yet. This is just a circle that we're going to use to be able to hold the yarn that we're ultimately going to crochet into this middle point over and over again. So your pattern might say something like make a magic loop with 6 single crochet stitches in it. This counts as the loop, and then you would put 6 single crochet stitches in here. And now I'm going to show you how to actually do that and what that all means. So you're going to take your raw yarn and you're going to have your yarn tail on the left and working yarn on the right. And you're going to arrange it like a horseshoe or a candy cane. Now you're going to take the yarn tail and cross it over the working yarn so that it looks like a 4 if you were to hold on to points over here with your left hand. Now hold on to the part where the yarn intersects and then put your thumb and your forefinger under the hole of the 4. And you're just going to flip your hand over like so to pick up the working yarn and bring it through that loop. Now you're going to pull on the yarn tail so that a knot forms. This knot and this whole technique I was showing you is called a slip knot. Don't worry if your loop is really big or not, because this is adjustable. Before you adjust it though, grab your hook. If you are right-handed, you want this slip knot to be to the left of your hook. If you're left-handed, you want it to be to the right of your hook. And now, to make this loop smaller, all you gotta do is pull on the working yarn. Ta-da! So now you have a slip knot on your hook. Get into crocheting position. And now we're gonna do what's called the chain stitch. So hold on to your yarn as close as possible to your hook so that you have most control. And we're gonna yarn over, so that's pushing the yarn away from you, otherwise known as bringing the yarn over the top of your hook from the back to the front, and then bring that yarn through the loop that's on your hook. That was 1 chain stitch. If you turn it over, you can see that horizontal V that represents a stitch. We're going to make 4 total. So again, yarn over and then pull it through the loop that's on your hook. And notice how every time I make a chain stitch, I'm adjusting my left hand to hold the yarn close to the hook, because it's going to be a lot easier to work with the yarn if your hand's up here versus down here. All right, here's the 3rd chain. And here's the 4th chain. You do want to try to make these stitches as tight as you can, because this is now, these 4 chain stitches are the chain stitches that we're going to connect to create the tiny circle that we will then put our hook through the center of. And if you want to minimize the chance that your final piece has a hole in the middle, you want these stitches as tight as possible. Okay, so we've made 4 chain stitches. Now we gotta connect the last stitch we just made to the first stitch we just made. And sometimes people have a little trouble identifying what the first stitch was. My tip is to look for the horizontal V's, count backwards from the one that you know you just made. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if that's still not clear, if you pull on the yarn tail and the yarn tightens, that little nubbin is the slip knot and not a stitch. That's not where your hook's going. All right, so if you remember with the longer chain I showed you in the beginning, we're gonna create a circle by doing this. I guess this looks a bit more like a U right now. And then you're going to put your hook under, you're gonna split this V of the very first stitch. You're gonna put it under only the top loop of the V. So right now that V looks like this. You're putting your hook only under this V, this part of the V. And now you're going to do a slip stitch, which is yarning over and then pulling that yarn through both loops on the hook. Now you made a little circle and you've got to find the center of this. So remember that demo I showed you in the beginning. All we did was turn essentially this chain stitch of yarn into a circle like this. We have to find the middle of it now. So just pull on both edges of this circle to find it. And you'll see it's over here. And sorry, before you actually then crochet in there, let's do another chain stitch. So you yarn over, pull it through the loop on the hook. That does not count towards the number of stitches that you need to crochet in this loop. That was just to create some height. So now you're going to put your hook in the very middle of this circle, yarn over, pull it through the middle of the circle again. So now you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull it through both loops. That was the first single crochet stitch. Now you're going to make 5 more single crochet stitches, assuming that the pattern said 6 single crochet stitches in a magic loop. And you're always going to put your hook in that same center hole of the chain that you just turned into a circle. So I'm going to show you again. Put your hook into that donut hole, yarn over, pull the yarn through the donut hole. So you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over again, and pull through both loops on the hook. And when you're doing this, you want to try to make sure that this donut stays flat as you're crocheting. Don't let it twist around and things like that. So here's the 4th one. Here's the 5th one. And here's the 6th one. And ta-da! Now you have your first round done in a circle. So now you can keep building on it.